It's a very weird dynamic, that's for sure. Of course, we'll see further losers games later on in the evening. So excited, of course, for Saturday to really get underway and kind of get things going. Of course, now, map 1, Valkyrie hardpoint, Red Reserve versus Rise Nation underway.
Oh, we got a lot of games today. We've got a lot of games, a lot of Call of Duty to play. I tell you what, that's a way to kick it off. Sending someone home in a game 5, incredible stuff. But Red Reserve and Rise Nation going head-to-head again. We are going to see Valkyrie. Wow, okay, that's a wipeout right there. 4 players all down. Red Reserve, they're going to have to respawn, go again. But the ventilation room in control of the North American squad is Rise Nation getting off to a great start here, about to hit 30 points.
And here's the important part as well. You can see Methods just doing a good job here for Rise. Not necessarily slaying inside the hill, but slaying outside. He's making sure that no one from Red Reserve is able to kind of rotate over towards that second hill when it pops in 9 seconds. However, Rated doing a good job of Red Reserve here. Just going for a massive, massive flank. And I'm not sure if Looney's going to expect this.
He's about to get pinched by 3 players. There's the first. Gunless is traded out again with Joe. And actually, he's going to reward himself with streaks. Yet to die. 5-0. He's backing off. He's looking for that artillery barrage. And he is a couple of kills. Still away from it. There's another. He finds himself 6-0. 25 points. An assist will do it, Ben. But with 45 seconds, you've got to favor him. And you know what, Looney? I love this spot.
Yeah, Looney being such a nuisance. Of course, he's more than likely going to pick up this kill. But, you know, it was a good attempt from Red Reserve. Like I said, rated with a slow flank. They get control of the spawns, but ultimately just lose the gunfights. And, well, to be honest, Rise Nation just shooting a little bit better here at the start of the game. And we see Looney, of course, pick up all of those streaks. What scares me here is Gunless. We've seen Gunless have phenomenal maps on Valkyrie, and he's dangerously close to streaks as well, Phil. This could be looking bad here for Red Reserve.
Yeah, only consolation is the streaks on this map. Not amazing, but still, we saw yesterday this map played. We casted these guys, and you know, you can use a glide bomb just to cut off a rotation. You can use, you know, an artillery barrage on smokes. It can be used, you know, in the right hands.
Yep.
Can be capitalized greatly. Let's stay on board with Gunless, see if he does pick up these streaks. Oh, actually, let's see the streak be used. Rated is going to fall, and now Rise Nation, they're going to try and pinch on in. It's not actually going to work, though, as they're all going to bottleneck through this window.
And that's really smart. Gunless says, Methods, I want you to go first. Let me just try and bait and switch. Perfect execution. Finds the fighter pilot. Sadly can't find the second kill, though, but does earn 1 streak there for his efforts. There's 30 seconds left on Storage Bunker, and it's still a little back and forth, but Rise Nation have been able to break in, and, well, the current score, 92-27. It looks good that they may actually be able to build an even bigger lead here.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. However, with 23 seconds, only 1 player is going to be in the way of them. That's going to be Gunless. Going to have to back off for now. Josh will be taken down by Gunless once again. Seems to be all over that kill feed. Already hit triple digits. In fact, so is Methods and Looney. 30 kills between them. Not a player on Red Reserve close to that. Joe the closest with 8.
And it is worth mentioning, Joe's had a pretty good playoff so far.
He has.
We've only seen 1 series, but he was sensational when we saw it. And, of course, he's carried that through here to day 2. The problem, however, is you look at the overall points and Rise Nation is still in control.
Really good use of the artillery barrage. We always see it on smokes, and this time it's being used to cut off just one of those lanes. I'm actually a really big fan of that. Good to see Rise, obviously, picking up some important time as well. 113 plays 42 as Rise Nation. They're actually in control of this hard point as well. There's still 35 seconds left on the office. And it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. That's a 4 dead. And look where they spawn, Ben.
And more importantly, look at how close TJ is to streaks here as well. 550 out of 625. Rise have been in the driving seat from the very beginning. Unfortunately, TJ falls Josh to the right-hand side there, but 17 seconds left. You know, you mentioned the spawn. Now you're going to have that big rotation that's going to come through for Rise. But to be honest, every time we've seen Red Reserve get set up, Rise just kind of walk straight through the front door.
They're continuing to do so. They're going to break on over to 145. It's a 100-point lead and counting now. The crazy thing is, this should get worse. Technically, it should. With the streaks and the way that the Rise are playing, this is not good here. TJ on a 4-kill streak is finally taken down.
And just look how easy that is. They had the setup early on smokestacks, right? You saw Rise Nation, they were forced to rotate through. They win a few gunfights, and the setup is just completely broken. Rise just look pretty immaculate so far here in game 1, as once again, Red, they spawn out. They have to rotate over toward the hill. TJ pushes straight through. He's going to slay out. Does a good job. Delays the push for now as the kills just keep consistently coming in for Rise Nation.
Yeah, outslaying by about 15 kills now and counting here. We talk about 100-point lead. It's now 120. And again, the question is how do Red get back into this? And yeah, you've got to start picking up kills. But with the streaks available now for Rise Nation, we've done 1 rotation, Ben. This is Not the Red Reserve we like to see. However, this is the Rise Nation that, you know, these guys want to be.
Right.
This is the championship team, and this is why they are so good. And this is a team which can make a long loser bracket run. I'm pretty confident about that.
The fact that they're in losers round 1 is just absurd, right? Like, you talk about the quality in this squad and, you know, how good they've been all year long. To see them fall early in losers is insane, as Joe finds a very nice triple kill there. And the pistol switch onto Methods. But still, you know, it's all good and well finding those kills. You need to get the hill time, and to Red's credit, they are finally getting a little bit of that ventilation room time, and slowly but surely reducing that deficit.
This is where Red would ideally need to pick up a couple of streaks as well. We've got Josh and Zero hidden 3 at the moment. We'll, of course, see if they get any further. Rated is going to fall. Joe picking up another big double. He's going to level the playing field, but Methods breaking on in. He's going to shut down Josh. Zero, though, on the other hand, he's still working towards this fighter pilot. He's going to get the double on the streaks here, and that's actually really big. And like you said before, Ben, credit to them for this ventilation room. I've got to take my hat off to them. They've not kind of quivered or started to shake and started to panic. They solidified that whole ventilation room.
Josh actually just picked up a huge kill on Looney. I'm not sure if you saw him, just kind of lingering around towards that operations bunker. He was being so passive, waiting for a little bit of team support. Josh actually kind of sniffed him out, if you will, to find a kill, but ultimately doesn't really matter because Rise take full control of the hill anyway. And you kind of see that really hard work that Red was able to do in the first hard point. Just a little diminished here after Rise once again easily break through.
I feel now it's starting to kind of level things out, but I just feel it's a little too late for Red Reserve. They gave up so much time on that first rotation. Methods, that bar, of course, which people do question on Valkyrie when you see the likes of Splice rocking 4 SMGs, and you know, it's a questionable pick, but he's making it work right now. 23 and 16. It is not all about those kills, of course. He's going to be picking up those long-range gunfights, but overall, you look across the board, Rise Nation positive throughout. TJ, least, of course, at neutral, 19 and 19, but still 100-point lead, Ben.
Yeah, I think, you know, you have to look at Gunless and Looney, the effect that they've had on this map. You know, you mentioned Methods. TJ's about even, had a relatively decent map, but Gunless at 23 and 17 with a minute 41 hill time. He's just winning so many of these key gunfights, and Looney just being, you know, typical Looney, what you expect from him, winning rotation gunfights, relieving pressure for his teammates inside the hill. And with that said, he has over a minute of hill time himself. So overall, a fantastic map 1 here from Rise Nation. It's just a moment of time, it feels like, before Red Reserve ultimately fall.
Streaks have been used. It's desperate times, if I'm being honest, when you're using streaks on Bunker. It says a lot. Gunless with a double. Methods is going to put number 3 and Looney number 4 on the board. Rise Nation. It's within touching distance. They can't end it here, Ben. We are going to go to another rotation, but right now, it's too little too late. Rise are really stepping up here on Saturday. Red Reserve, you guys know, are a quote-unquote maybe loser bracket run team or a Sunday team. It ain't Sunday.
Sure, it's definitely not Sunday. And you don't really have any other lifelines. I mean, I guess it'd be a hell of a way to start a loser's run if you go 2-0 down against Rise Nation and reverse sweep and then go on to really make a run. But in Rise's current form, they look just so solid.
It'll be the first time we've seen the Reds come back from 2-0 down today, but that aside, Rise Nation, they're about to close out here with only 16 points needed. Rated doing his best, 23 and 24. And again, I'll say what I said before. They have started to get back into this, but when they were 100 points down, they've just kind of gone toe-to-toe. And you can't do that when you're 100 points down. Starting to creep away from them. Rise Nation have been halted for now here at the office, but they only need 11 points, Ben.
Yeah, like you said, it's basically inevitable at this point. And again, credit to Rise Nation here for a fantastic map 1. Now it's going to be important about, you know, following that through into game 2. Do you happen to remember what game 2 was by chance?
Search and Destroy, Ben.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate
no idea.
That was absolute cracking insight from yourself. But in all seriousness, this is where you want to see Red take control of the search, right? I mean, yesterday we saw some good Search and Destroy performances from both these two teams, I believe. But overall, it's that Search and Destroy where, you know, you can't go 2-0 down. You can't, because Rise, they'll close it out. They're not going to allow you to reverse sweep.
History could be repeating itself here. Rise Nation, they have, I wanted to say the one over on Red Reserve, but it's not. It's not 1, 2, 3, or 4. They've beaten them 5 times, World War II major events. And you know, some teams, they match up well against each other. I always say Red matched up well up against FaZe. You know, you look against FaZe, they always seem to match up against them, be this kind of COD triangle, but Rise Nation have always had the number of Red Reserve, and map 1 does go in their favor, and honestly, it didn't even look difficult.
It's worth mentioning, and kind of maybe going a little deeper to that point. Why do you think that is? What is it? Is it just kind of the head-to-head players, the SMGs versus the SMGs, or what do you think it is?
I think Rise Nation, they have those slayers. They are the ones that put up the numbers, and I think sometimes in Red Reserve, it's a very methodical kind of team. Yes, you've got the likes of Raider who can drop big numbers, and same for Zero, but that's not consistently enough to take down a team like Rise. When you're playing against Gunless and Methods, for example, you need those sneaky plays of Joe's to pull off. You need Joe to have a good game or Josh to go big. I feel when Red match up against Rise, the only way they're going to win is if all 4 players are, like, on it. And honestly, like, that doesn't happen very often. Like, just in general, you guys are playing, say, loser bracket, round 3 in an open bracket. One of your teammates probably not going to have the best of games, but you might have a great game. For all 4 players to have a stellar game, it's actually quite rare.
Very rare indeed.
Yeah.
And it's kind of those moments where it does happen. You see crazy results come through, you know, like those massive 100-point clubs that often start to come through. And I mean, based off, you know, game 1 there, it's definitely not going to be the case for Red Reserve. Rise Nation, on the other hand, look very, very good as we get ready, of course, for game 2 of this series, the Search and Destroy. And I am curious to see the exact map for this game 2 of the series here, because I think a lot does rest on it. Like I mentioned, I feel like if Rise go 2-0 up, Phil, I just see him close it out. St. Marie, okay, so interesting. St. Marie and Ardennes, London Docks for the rest of the series. St. Marie, a map that we watched obviously FaZe play late yesterday. Curious to see, you know, what we're going to get here from both Red and Rise.
It'll be interesting to see. Red Reserve, I kind of said during the Pro League, they were that S&D team which, you know, anyone could watch and learn. You know, you could learn something from a squad like Red Reserve. When it comes down to playoffs and everything's on the line, they got the best S&D map in Game 5 and, you know, didn't capitalize on that against LG. They, of course, won their first S&D against LG, but it was tough.
These guys, Dogs, right?
Yeah, they...
it was 6-3, if memory serves.
I think, yeah, 6-3 or 6-4, something like that, along those lines. Rise Nation, though, I think they've got a lot to prove after Birmingham. I think they've come in, they've lost their first map. I would have loved to have heard the conversation maybe last night from these guys, what they went over. Yeah. But it certainly seems like they're focused on the task in hand, and now we're headed to TJ's game mode.
And it's interesting you mentioned that, because we looked at some of the stats based off, you know, TJ in terms of his Pro League Search and Destroy KD and how truly impressive it was. Then, of course, the squad go over to Atlanta and he kind of underperforms a little bit in what is heavily considered his best game mode. And then his teammates kind of step up and you have a massive performance and improvement from the likes of Gunless and Methods. They both really, really step up. And, you know, now it's kind of where you do want to see that TJ flourish once again in Search and Destroy.
Well, we'll see here in just a few moments. I believe the game is starting. Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, Red Reserve took a bit of a beating on map number 1, and we're heading to St. Marie de Mar for Search and Destroy. Yesterday, we saw some great games played out on this. I'm interested to see, again, are we going to see that expeditionary, those smokes coming down at the A-bomb site? Streaks, of course, play a huge part on St. Marie. So watch out for your favorite players gathering those score streaks. Interested to kick it off. Yesterday, watching FaZe on this, the aggression of someone like Zuma. I'm expecting the same from TJ.
Yeah, TJ's so sneaky when it comes to this map as well. How many times have you just seen him fly straight through mid-map and just give zero respect? As we have a quick glance through some of the players here. I'm not caught any expeditionary just yet. We'll see. You would expect someone on Rise to potentially be running it, and it will be Looney. So he's stunned. And Semtex, he's going to be flying over towards that B site, put some pressure down. Should have some teammate support. That's going to come in the form of Methods. Actually, just decides to throw out the stun, connects early. As you can see, instantly, if you're Red Reserve, if you are planning on pushing B, you can't. Ultimately, TJ gets the first blood anyway. So a couple of trades go down. You got yourself a 2v2 situation.
Looney thinks he's coming up behind him. He's going to spot one. I love that shot there. Straight into the face of Zero, but now 1v2 for Joe. He was the one player who got stunned from Looney initially. He has spotted him. I don't think Looney knows. No, Looney did spot him. Oh my goodness. I thought the turn was coming.
Oh,
wow.
What was that?
Shot. He was one shot. I want to see this again if possible. We are going to see it again. Methods. It was that close range STG.
We win those, Phil.
We try.
Joe, absolute one shot. The best part of that whole thing, Zero, just a cheeky little grin on his face. Yeah, that's my teammate right there. That's my teammate. A wonderful clutch from Joe. A 1v2, which he has no right to win whatsoever.
No.
But Red Reserve kick off St. Marie pretty well.
That's a frustrating one. That's one where, you know, we go into our round 10 and 11s and we think about these. Interesting. Joe doing pretty much the same as TJ with the airborne. Aggressive play, but look who's waiting for him. It is TJ. Now we see a very weak Joe. I think Joe's just injured himself again with that grenade.
He's just buying himself time, regen his health. Really just heads up play from Joe. Throws the Semtex on the floor, of course, to stop any Rise Nation players pushing. But ultimately, too many resources for Rise over towards the A site. Leads rated 1v3, a tough spot. The smoke grenade goes out, of course, and now it should just be mere moments before rated is shut down.
Those moments are going to come instantly here. I will say, I know Rise kind of threw away round 1, but both rounds for me have been very convincingly in control of Rise Nation here. Interested to see how Red adapt to that. Yeah, they're usually a really good team who can adapt, really good at adapting and changing their strategies if needs be, and I will give a lot of credit to the likes of Raided and Josh for that.
Curious as well to see if we see a B push this round, because the first 2 rounds have been A favored, right, both on the attacking side, and we know Looney is going to have that expeditionary stun that he's more than likely going to throw. You hear it pop in the background, and that did actually land on, I believe that was rated, so he's going to be a little slow to the party just based off the movement of those red arrows in the top right. But for now, Red Reserve look as if they want to push into that B site.
I love how quick TJ is. He's got airborne on his STG, and people obviously want to be silent. He's actually been taken down. Was that Josh outside? It was. Josh is the person with the bomb. He's now inside.
Look at that timing.
Taking TJ, but Looney spotted the gun. He's got to find 1, maybe 2. Will find the second, tag him. Will not capitalize on it with Joe caught on rotation. It's a 2v2, and that's a gunfight you don't want, Methods.
So just right straight past Gunless. Methods ultimately falls in that fight. So Gunless, 1v2 now for him. Bomb, of course, has been planted over towards B. 30 seconds, so he has some time at his disposal here. Of course, I'm sure he'd love a little bit more, but time of the essence. He has to make the play. Josh is going to hear him, and Gunless loses the gunfight.
Unfortunate. You drop down from there, you're always going to be heard. Josh had superb cover. Those initials obviously very, very strong. That's a much better round from Red. Even though they won one of those Rise dominating rounds, that's a round which says, we can adapt, we can change, and I like that.
Yep, very, very good round there from Red Reserve, of course. They now find themselves in control in the search and destroy. I'm sure they'd love to win this next round, give them a little bit of a cushion. But we'll see how Rise Nation respond now as they go on the attacking side. We've seen them push A once, and this time it seems as if it is going to be that B push. And I don't think Red threw any expeditionary.
I have a load of them nades.
And that's a poor kind of gas nade too. Like there's nothing there to follow it through. Of course, Joe does fall for first blood, so that's definitely not going to help. But ultimately, Rise Nation now full control of the site.
Looney, very confident shots there. He's got armored. He's lured out a grenade from Red Reserve. They've got a 4v3 defense here. And you know what? He's working towards those streaks. This is not a great position for Red. I think they've got to have a little bit of luck on their side now to break back in here.
I mean, Rated just has to gun TJ. Rated just has to gun TJ. There's no way you lose that fight. Right now, you are essentially setting up a bait and switch here for Zero and Josh. And, well, bait and switch does come through. Sadly, Zero loses his life, but you're still waiting for Rated to win that gunfight. He ultimately isn't going to be able to do so. TJ in such a powerful spot leaves Josh 1v3. I guess the key kill there is, of course, Looney falls. Yeah, and Josh, he's gone for streaks as well himself. He's on a 4-kill streak, so yeah, staying alive really important here. Can we just check? Oh no, I think it was Looney. It was Looney, yes.
Yeah, you're right. So streaks still on the cards. Of course, this will tie things up. And interesting. First Blood's most definitely in favor of Rise Nation, but all things tied up now in the search and destroy. Josh, the key player to watch, right? Because if he does get those streaks, you mentioned at the very beginning, St. Marie du Mans, streaks in search can be just so important. I mean, you know, we saw the way the FaZe TK series played out. Kenny gets a fighter pilot so early in the game, forces out Mountain for a large majority of the game, and, well, when you have Mountain on, pushing that B site can be a little petrifying. So there you see the effect of Looney's expeditionary stun. I haven't seen anyone on Red Reserve with an expeditionary class, so it does make you potentially think, I might be wrong, of course. We haven't had time to flick straight through, but the one thing that Looney does so well, of course, he's using that inconspicuous. He just pushes straight through mid-map. He wants to try and get mid-map control. Sadly, this time, though, sniffed out by Joe, so forces the 3v3. 3 first bloods for TJ. He's been so quick just getting top red, airborne. He's doing it every single time. He's picked up his 2nd kill of the round, 3rd kill streak, or 3-kill streak, should I say, and Now Gunless is in a great position with Mountain.
He's going to be a little upset about that. Joe somehow gets up top, and Gunless does trade the kill out. So now Zero, your turn. Can you produce the goods when your squad need them? The 1v2, of course, the bomb down, not planted, over towards the B site. Rise well aware of that, so Zero with all the work to do, and important to note, Josh, no streaks for him.
And everything's pretty much covered here. You know, whichever way he goes, he's going to be spotted, and it's difficult for Zero. He goes around there, and Gunless could have been in probably 7 different positions. Another round to Rise Nation. And this is where you've got to think for Red Reserve, obviously. Yesterday they went 2-0 up. You don't want to give two games to Rise Nation in the best of 5.
You just can't. Rise Nation will bury the series. They are extremely talented, as we know. This is such an important map for Red Reserve, in my opinion, here. But as I mentioned, Josh obviously fell last round, so although he was playing for the streaks, ultimately not going to get them. As now, Rise, it's their turn on the attacking side, and they default back to what they did the first round. Looks as if it's going to be the A push. The smoke comes through. Josh obviously going to call that out to his teammates. You haven't seen anything at B. The smoke's out at A. Well, it's going to be an A plant.
Yeah, Looney's watching the back as well. Interesting to see if he picks anything up. Again, Josh, he still needs to play for these streaks.
He died.
Oh, he's dead. So there you go. He won't be playing for anything.
He died last round, so no streaks available for this young man, sadly. Of course, we mentioned the impact they have, but bomb goes down over towards A. Still 4v4, no one's died.
And I love that, the expeditionary from Looney, but he actually, didn't use them off the break. He has those in his back pocket. Look at the setup here for Rise Nation. They have every single bit covered, and Gunless making light work of Joe and Rated. Rated yet to get a kill. He's 0-6. Oh, awkward times, but Josh, I will say, great shots, but in a 1v2 now. 7.5 second defuse, not got the time.
Advantage Rise. They're going to have a little bit of breathing room now here in game 2, and a big part of that is just their control of the B site, right? Looney with that expeditionary stun slows it down every single time they're on defense, and you see Rise not afraid of mixing things up, going over towards the A site there. You mentioned Rated, of course, at 0-6, not his best game by any means, but for him to step things up if this series, or if this map at least, is going to be prolonged a little bit. I mean, it has been relatively even. I mean, the early rounds you gave the advantage to Rise, a little bit of showing from Red, but I really think that expeditionary is a big, big difference maker over towards B.
4-2 to Rise Nation. Arguably, it should be 5-1. I'm going to be a little bit of a savage towards Red Reserve here. They kind of got destroyed in the first hard point. They should be 5-1 down. If Rise Nation do win this round, then could be over. But it's not. It's a 3-3. 60 seconds left on the clock. Looney's going to put Josh to bed. Rated's 0-7.
Yeah.
It's a very poor performance.
Call the agency. They have a new agent. Joe, though, with the flank on Looney, forces the 2v2. Of course, Red Reserve could still try and get this bomb planted, but TJ watching the cross. This is a big gunfight for Joe to try and take. TJ wisely backs off. Methods now wants to try and collapse in. And honestly, Methods could make the play here, Phil.
He could. I actually like his decision to back off, but he's going to be caught with the aggressive playstyle of Joe. Now in a 1v2. TJ. Not going to happen here. Red Reserve giving another lifeline for Thou. And Rated given a chance to pick up a kill.
Yeah, good round there from Red, the way they didn't allow TJ to really just force one of those 1v1s. So good stuff from them. And interesting to note, Looney puts away the expeditionary class. It's almost as if he realized, he's like, well, no one's throwing anything back, so why put myself at a disadvantage? Let me use something a little different, pull out an armor class for that round. I may actually just kind of stick with it there. We'll wait and see how things kind of adapt for him individually. But as you mentioned, Rated's still looking for that first kill. Now he's going to pull it out on the attacking side, so you probably see something over towards the B side now.
Again, this is when you start to think of those rounds. Shoulds and coulds. Josh has gone mid. TJ now getting aggressive here. I love his kind of his sprint and pause is what I meant to say. Just the way he maneuvers around the map, obviously with such speed, yet with such strategy as well. The B bomb site completely open. This is a really strange setup here for Red Reserve, but you have got to think long term.
It's not the first time they give it up, though.
No, they have done this before, and this is where coordinated grenades will come in. There's 2. Now we're going to get nothing. And now... Bomb goes down. And
there's a few nades. I'll just stick the plant.
Joe's got to make a pick. Joe's got to make a play. If Joe goes down, it turns to a 4v3, and Joe's getting shot at. He's been spotted. That's going to be Methods putting him under pressure, and now it's literally one-on-one. Smoke's going in. TJ finds the first. Traded out. Radiant going to find his first kill as he baits out Josh. Big from Joe. There's the pick you need. And now Joe can just bide his time. He doesn't need to challenge that one.
Beautiful retake from Red. And we've seen that smoke now be used a fair amount of times on St. Marie. If you're not going to play B aggressively on the defensive, if you're going to give up the site, you throw the smoke to cover off that entire right-hand side as you try and retake from, of course, the defensive spawn. And it just kind of blocks off that whole line of sight. It allows a little easier kind of entry into the site. You still have to worry about one player close and one more than likely lying at sandbags. But when you have a player such as Joe going for that big flank fill, retakes like that, I mean, that was majestic to watch.
And I love how, like, Rated baited out his teammate, rightfully so. You know, I'm not saying that as a negative. He had the STG, so, you know, his teammate jumps in with the SMG. Suddenly there's two players up front. My goodness, that could have been worse, but back to the point in hand, they basically force every player to look that way. Oh my God. Methods, that is disgusting.
But that is such an important play. Streaks come in for Joe, and
not just one.
I'll tell you what, Joe, that's so unfortunate, because if Joe was able to get out of the site here,
he's gonna see two. He knows they're both there. This is perfect. Joe can do this 1v3. He's gonna find one, but Looney rips the head clean off of him. The question is, Ben, do they know he has streaks? Side note, TJ has five first bloods.
10 and 6. With the plant that round, I would assume you'll see some mountain classes. What I would have loved to have seen, it's obviously, you know, hindsight, wonderful, but as soon as he gets that information, if he just managed to stay alive a little longer there, could have been big. But if he was able to kind of abandon the site, you could use the streaks the round, you get them and almost secure that round win. It would have been a big one, of course, because it puts you at that 5th round. It was tied at 4-4.
Okay.
Now Rise with the advantage, and you can see the mountain classes.
Four mountain classes. They know, and you know, so they should. However, they're one round away, and I will say, don't rule out the chances of a player getting picked. Zero and Josh go down. I believe Josh had the streaks. Oh no, it was Joe.
He has to streak now.
You have to. He's not going to see anything. He's not going to find anything. He will actually spot Gunless running in to the little shed.
And what was important was that wasn't the only player he saw, because he saw someone scramble over towards kind of Grandma's. I believe that was actually Methods that had to backtrack. So he has the information, but this is a massive win for Joe. Joe is just single-handedly keeping Red Reserve in this game. It was a 4v2 for Rise Nation to close it out. And Joe just springs into life, uses the streaks, finds one, and may actually be forced to use the fighter pilot. But if you're Rise, you just got to book it. You just got to get inside. It opens up the site completely, and this is where you really need Rated to be the one to make a play here.
Yeah, the thing is, number 8, Looney, is actually checking the bomb, thinking, that fighter pilot, he's going to be fusing. No, he's absolutely not. It's down to your initials now. This is the first blood that you need, and that's going to put Rise Nation in a great position. Looney staying alive. I'm not sure of the thought process in that one, and this is the thought process. The glide bomb will be taken out of the equation, of course, but time ticks away. Is Methods in a position to get it? Is he there? He's 5-4.
My God.
No way!
Oh, you hate to see it. Rated jumps on the bomb, sticks it, and we're going to a round 11. But it is worth mentioning, and I would love to hear from Red. If you go back and watch it, I would love to know the thought process there, because as soon as you use that fighter pilot, you need to have someone put pressure on Rise. You're freeing up the entire site. It is then yours to try and retake almost. It's a bizarre play, but you know Looney had at least a glide bomb.
So he at least has a fighter pilot. The problem is as well, this would be great. You know, what's better than around 11 when you got 2 streaks? I mean, right now, every streak was invested for Red Reserve. They used it all. They know that. The fighter pilot isn't going to be used just yet. I think number 7 is the key, and that, of course, TJ, you know, if he does spot anyone towards that site, fighter pilot comes raining on down. Initials, TJ down. Bomb going forward towards B. Doesn't look like it's been planted yet, but now this is going to be trouble.
It all comes down to whether Josh can just kind of stay alive. And actually, Methods drops as well. So Red Reserve, they flip round 11 on its head almost. No streaks left. It's Rise Nation's turn to try and retake 2v4. Gunless versus Rated is going to be the first fight. Looney wins 1, so they reduce the deficit. Now a 2v2. Are you serious?
2v4, now a 2v2, around 11. Gunless should be taken down. Oh my God, no. Joe has actually opted not to go in. They can hear each other. I'm pretty confident.
bear in mind that the bomb still has to be planted here, Phil. The bomb is down in the B site. You've got Looney.
I love what Looney's doing. I really love what doing. The communication has gone from gunless to Looney, and Looney's just the net. My goodness, this is literally running round circles. Grenade's going to go over. Looney's going to be caught.
Here's the nade. Joe heard the nade. He finds the pick. Gunless. 1v2.
And Zero knows he's weak. You can't tag that. You can't even challenge it. Oh my goodness, no, he's taken out.
Oh!
Surely, no! Give me a heart attack once again. Ben, I'm going to say it. That should not have been...
How is that even that close?
Rice should not have been even close to that. Josh is shaking his head. They win. I'm speechless after that. We should be sat here.
I think that's a little bit of nerves coming
in a different position. But if there's ever a time, you know, you beat them 5 times,
Yes.
You don't want to be throwing S&D away. I've got to think back. We said it, round 1 and round 2. That's where Rise should have, you know, started to gain their lead. They should have kind of start putting the series to bed.
Yeah.
Red Reserve, they were great. Joe in particular, getting those streaks, he invested them at the right time. He did what he could. Looney, of course, kind of chose to invest that glide bomb to kind of end the series. That didn't work out. The fighter pilot doesn't come to anything. It's a battle of 2 mountain teams, if you like, and it goes down to, of course, around 11. What other way would it be with me and you?
Yeah, I know.
Every time.
Every time. We always just get these crazy series, that's for sure. But you look at that round 11, the gunless, the 1v2, makes the brave play of just pushing out. And Joe, I don't think, had any clue that that was coming, because the last thing you expect is that amount of pressure. But that final 1v1, it lasted a little longer than you would have thought. Zero, of course, he was on the bomb. Gunless, he just wins the first gunfight. Sandbags, time's ticking as well. That could have been a phenomenal 1v2 right there from Gunless.
Yeah, I didn't know why when he was kind of looking over at Zero, he knew he was behind the bomb. The player who kind of came in from the back, he didn't kind of challenge. He was just like trying to hide under him. It was, I didn't think Gunless should have won the first gunfight, but
no,
either way.
Whatsoever. But this series, looking like it's going to be a good one, that's for sure. Rise Nation took control of map number 1, but it was game 2, the search and destroy, that goes the distance. Good old-fashioned round 11. When we come back, it's CTF, not in Forest.
Probably toughest loss to swallow, like personally for my team as well, maybe was the Splice loss at Birmingham. Just because my team, myself included, is just, like we said, it's out of our hands. Like I felt like I couldn't do anything.
Like I'm usually furious when we lose, but I didn't really care. When we lost that event, it was what can you do? We didn't adapt. We have playoffs next weekend, the bigger event to bounce back on straight away.
Obviously, in the UK, there was loads of fans there wanting to see us and Splice play and whatnot, so probably the best crowd ever at a gaming event. Yeah, it's insane. I sat in the front row for the final and it's pretty incredible.
I think our best moment as a team is probably that first win against Optic at New Orleans. We got over that bridge of beating Optic. That was the first time the majority of us beat Optic ever, and then we've beat them 3 times since, so I think that was probably our biggest win.
Like, you always get a good feeling knocking out Optic, especially with the crowd that they bring to the events. It's nice seeing just a bunch of sad faces, I guess. I think events like being close together for momentum wise is a good thing, especially like say if you win the event, so LG are coming in there quite hot.
Our biggest missed opportunity is probably getting a better seed for playoffs, even though I don't mind our draw because we beat LG at Atlanta. I think we're still one of the favourites going into playoffs if you go off Atlanta, so I think we're just fine, do what we do. It's good to finally start in a winner bracket, so like if you get through the winner bracket to the final, there's a 90% chance you're going to win the event. So I think if we win our first round against LG, I think we'll win the whole thing.
I've promised my team a W, especially with how confident I feel in myself, especially at events like these. Like last time I was here, I played incredible, so I hope I do it again.
Zero promises his team the W. Well, you have to go for another miraculous losers bracket run, and it all starts here against Rise Nation Series. Currently tied 1-1. That's joined by the wonderful Momo for this one, and Arden Forest CTF. We've seen some slow-paced games, fast-paced games, incredibly clutch games. We've seen it all in Arden Forest, and this is one where, if you're a European fan, you really, really want Red to win, because, of course, I believe it's Arden hardpoint to follow this, and I favor Rise in that matchup all day.
Most definitely. I know we're getting into the CTF, Ben, but I just want to point out, Joe's 1v2 on the S&D, the Ninja-esque diffuse, the streak uses, the timing. I think Red Reserve have been gifted a map 4 minimum here. Do you know what, though? That's all it takes sometimes is a nice little gift, and you can run away with it. Talking of running away, it's Gunless with a flag.
Yes, he's already booked it all the way through Ruins, and unless the miracle comes through from guess who? It's that boy Joe again. Can he somehow produce the goods? It doesn't look like it. The stun is out for Gunless, but first flag is going to be run through. Now if you're Red Reserve, you start thinking about counter cap, right? That's really the only thing that you can try and do. Rated with an important gunfight there on Gunless. No streaks for him. Slows down the pace. It's Rated actually gets a double. Methods falls, and now the flag is out. However, look at this. Mr. Sneaky himself. Looney already gets over towards Cabin. He can put a stop to this entire push single-handedly. Joe sniffs it out, or sorry, Zero sniffs it out, finds the pick, and really, it just comes down now to Gunless.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Gunless, he's going to be greeted by Reese Price, a.k.a. Rated. We're going to see this 1-1, and Arden Forest 1-1 after this time is kind of unheard of, but you've got streaks already in the hands of Rated. He said in the VT, he's very confident. After, obviously, Birmingham, he's kind of wiped that. He doesn't even count it. But he's back in Columbus, and he's in the loser bracket against potentially what people will say is still the best team in the world.
And this is so important now for Josh, right? He's the only player that really matters at this moment in time, because you have streaks on Rated. Josh, so close to streaks of his own. He has no extra utility to use. He can't throw out a stun or grenade. He's obviously used that already in the spawn, but Looney cuts him down mid-map, and also managed to find a second in the form of Joe before Zero ultimately trades it. And with 3 minutes left, you can still say it looks like Red Reserve a little bit in the driving seat here, simply because of that extra utility, the streaks. They're on the preferred side, of course. But it's Rise Nation once again putting the pressure on.
Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying Forest CTF recently. We've cast it a few times. I think obviously the change in the meta has really helped. But you used to get those slow, kind of methodical, traditional CTFs, and now you get, you know, a lot more flags and very entertaining. Red Reserve on the back foot here. Method's picking up one, and see if they can pick up first, maybe second wave of kills. However, first quarter gone. 1-1 is the scoreline. We do have a couple of streaks already on the battlefield, but right now, seeing Joe and Zero battle it down at Ruins.
And unfortunately, Joe falls very quickly. Methods with a double. And if you're Rated now, you got to put yourself in a position where you can maybe use a streak or at least slow down a push. Problem is, he's been hunted by Looney as the flag ultimately going to be pulled. And He's bought a little bit of time for his teammates off spawn. Joe springs into life with a double. Josh there for the third, so TJ has to scramble away. And a good defensive hold again from Red Reserve, but that's the thing. We keep saying another defensive hold, another defensive hold. You can't hold on forever.
Interesting, we used to see Joe time and time again push around Bell and go for kind of the reverse pull, if you like. We haven't seen that as much as of late with Red Reserve.
I think that's mainly just due to the pressure, right?
Yeah.
Rise Nation is consistently sending resources over towards you, so every time Joe's tried to do it, you know he's not been able to. Plus the fact that he's consistently spawning over towards cabin side as well. He has to respect the pressure that's over on that side of the map. And ultimately, another defensive hold from Red Reserve as Methods also drops 0 with a double. But get map control. Fly out, get some control here. The one benefit is with all of these aggressive pushes that Rise have had, Rated still hasn't invested any streaks, so he's still holding on to those.
Yeah, still got those in his back pocket. I will say as well, that was a huge individual gunfight from Joe. Hard to kind of put that on a scoreboard, but he's going to fall to Looney this time. And you know what? Looney's in and around that flag. I don't think he's going to be able to get it away. However, that grenade and flash may be enough. Zero does get stunned, however. Flag will be returned. A lot of flag pulls, and talking of streaks here, Zero, he's close himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, getting that return was good for Zero. You would want him, of course, to the closest 2 streaks to return for the extra points. And now he's just kind of teetering with Gunless over in Cabin Alley. Just eagerly anticipating the push to come through. And there it is. And more streaks for Red Reserve. And that's going to be full streaks for Zero. Can he keep his promise to the Red Reserve lads of bringing home Stage 1 playoffs? It's a long run, like we mentioned, but finally you see the control come through and Rated goes straight for the glide bomb. TJ has to be the first player to shut down, but TJ slows down the push himself with the Semtex pick. Rated with a double. Joe has flag in hand now.
I love this. The way that he didn't turn around and use that. He's waiting for Rated to go down. There is 55 seconds. The flag's still out, so don't rule this out just yet. We've got Zero going for it. Ambitious effort. Most definitely not over yet. Now it probably is.
If you're going to invest the glide bomb, why don't you invest the second glide bomb from Zero, right? You instantly get control. As soon as Josh falls to that Semtex, that should be the sign of, all right, we need a little bit of extra pressure. If you've already invested one, invest the second. It's no harm done.
And none of them had mountain. They were all in the open off spawn between Bell and their home flag.
They didn't have spawn protection because they'd been up for 3-4 seconds at that point.
That's a glide bomb that can pick up like 2 kills, which is quite rare in the likes of a CTF. Either way, I think Rise Nation would have been quite hyper. They were like, yeah, we're all over them. We're all over them. Aggressive, aggressive. Little did they know they've been feeding streaks.
They know.
You know, you look across the board. Rated +3, -2 for Joe. Zero sits at +2. You don't expect a team to have this many streaks with that scoreline.
Right.
Josh is sat 3-11. I didn't even realize.
He almost got streaks of his own, remember? He was a kill away.
When he was 2-2.
Yeah. Oh, how long ago that seems. Instantly, though, Red Reserve, the pressure comes through, and it's that man Joe again. Just a wonderful event he has had. It really is tremendous watching him just kind of flourish here at Stage 1 playoffs, but Methods can put a dampener to the Red Reserve mood. Zero's going to invest the first glide bomb and stretches it far enough to actually pick the kill on Gunless as well. Methods falls, Rated with a gunfight now. Josh is going to go for the return, and in those situations, you would love to see the flag carrier get the return, but in that specific situation, there's just too much pressure, right? You just want to make sure you get that lead. He recognizes there's probably going to be another Rise Nation player pushing over towards bunker, so just quickly let Josh get that read, because to my point, if Joe had got the return, he would have had streaks here.
I'm just begging that Joe just sit behind this barrel with an SCG. Just sit there until you get a kill. Do not move. Bait out your team. Do what you need. These two streaks... Okay.
That's so tough. You're 10 points away.
Streak is great. But again, he just needs to stay alive. This can win him or lose them the game.
Oh, no.
He hasn't been spotted.
Bad timing. You hate to see it. Oh. Joe grabs himself a glide bomb and a fighter pilot. Ultimately cut down there by Gunless. But again, Red Reserve, they put themselves in another good position. But here comes the Rise Nation pressure.
Flag is out. However, streaks galore. This is lifeline after lifeline. The crazy thing is no one's actually up. This is just going to be, time bought right now. They're buying time. That flag is still out. The fighter pilot's coming down, but TJ shutting down too. This fighter pilot, the only thing he's going to do...
Yeah, that can't happen.
In fact, no, he's not going to do anything.
That cannot happen. TJ single-handedly put a stop to the push, and the fighter pilot gets absolutely nothing for its efforts. So with 3 minutes left, we're all tied up 2-2 as TJ trying to push in the bunker, be the aggressor, make the play. Looney somehow managed to clean up that kill, but Zero again, another double defensively, but Gunless wins the trade.
Streaks again. Gunless needs to play for these. He's a smart man. He's gonna pick up the streaks. How many times have we seen this man of streaks here? He can streak now. What I would do if I was him is pop a streak down. Oh, well, Zero's popping streaks to try and defend, so maybe bide your time here. If he had the backup, which he does, now then you streak. This is where you can wipe out 3, because again, you're not gonna see mounted.
They're all gonna die. 1, 2, 3. They know where Josh is overextending in methods. It's gonna be. Did you not call him out?
I don't think they do now. Now they do.
I mean, well, now he's flagged, but I mean, he wasn't using Mountain either. We saw him in the fighter pilot. Josh, this is your moment to somehow buy some time. Zero has a fighter pilot as well. Now, how's he used it? Did he use it to try and assist his teammate out or kill the flag? Well, essentially neither, because Rise Nation now go 3-2 up with just shy of 2 minutes still.
Wow, this CTF is very, very intense to say the least. We're again on board with TJ for a second, then he was walking towards, of course, streaks of his own. A little bit away, but when you get a flag, you get another kill like this. Now he plays for them. Now he can just sit around ruins or, you know, even grab a flag, touch a flag, get himself some additional points, or you can just not miss. That always helps.
That works. That works. Isn't this deja vu from what we saw in Red's game yesterday?
Yeah.
Winners round 1, Arden Forest, CTF, they get an abundance of streaks, and just sadly, things don't go their way. And, well, now they have just over 60 seconds. TJ does fall. Important win there. No extra utility for Rise Nation. No more streaks on their side outside of a belief. Just a glide bomb for Gunless.
60 seconds. Red need to go. Red are going to pick up 2 kills. Streaks are coming down. This is big from Red Reserve. I don't think... In fact, yes, they will get the flag here. Josh is going to pick up a big kill now. What streaks are available? We're getting a glide bomb. This is going to pause. Rated at the back, however. That would have been a huge kill. Not going to see anything come in. Gunless, no more streaks to play with a headshot coming in. Now, this is worrying because you start thinking about a relay.
So, Gunless is going to fall. Now, here's the issue. Gunless was the player with the streak, right?
Yeah.
But he was also the first to spawn cabin. No one from Red Reserve was watching the cabin cross. Gunless obviously doesn't know that, but if he just flew and overextended first and foremost before using that streak, that might have been a more valuable play, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Game tied, 3-3. Rise Nation, though, they might want to end it here. Joe, it all comes down to him momentarily. Can he defend the Rise Nation push? First kill comes through for Methods. His teammates now spawning up. Josh there to try and defend the Red Reserve flag.
Well, we've got number 3, Gunless, in the middle. There's only 6 seconds. They need to touch on the flag. TJ is going to get it. TJ gets a touch. TJ! The flag is out. The flag is out, so keep your eyes on Looney. Looney, big 1v1. Big 1v1 again.
Serious?
But all these deaths, all these kills are going to favor Red Reserve. The reason being, the spawn. They're going to be closer. That will be a return. Or do Red Reserve now want to have a bit of taste? They're saying don't return it until I get a chance. I love this, Ben.
Rated was trying to be a little cheeky over towards that ruin side. Just says, Joe, hold on. Don't touch that flag just yet. Give me a second. Let me see if I can make a play. He falls, and instantly Joe just jumps on the flag. He's like, nah, boys, we're returning this now. We'll take it to a good old OT stopwatch here in Game 3. We've had some cracking games, haven't we?
We've had some very, very entertaining games. Forest overtime CTF are not uncommon, of course, but this has been fantastic entertainment for these guys. Josh, he's 12-2. Not 12-2. Math is hard at this point. 12-21. Not the best scoreline, but it doesn't matter. All streaks have been invested. He's now down to overtime. Josh is going to fall to TJ. Joe jumping on in. He's going to find Gunless, but that's going to be taken away. The STG too strong at that range. Now Rated, he needs to hold tight. And that 1 kill alone will be huge.
Yeah, well, Rated loves that cabin. Loves that cabin wall. Give him a tent, some marshmallows, and he'll sit there all game. And he's just such a hard player to win that gunfight against. So unbelievably accurate. But when you rise, you say, you know what, screw cabin side, we'll just push straight through ruins, and this could be the first push. Looney, he's trying to watch the cut, wins the first gunfight as well. Flag should be out, and Methods saves Looney's life. He shuts down Josh. That flag is in. There is no doubt in my mind that flag goes home. The only question is, what will be the time set? And more importantly, does TJ get his streaks from this flag cap as well? Because if he does, Phil, Red Reserve, I mean, they're in a very, very deep hole.
I think Rise were trying to set up for a relay on overtime or something. These guys are having fun there. Yes, the answer is yes. The streaks, again, this is just not what you want. The one thing now Red need to do is as they pull, they need to kill TJ. Like, it's just the one thing they need. Those 2 streaks are incredible. 50 seconds, Ben. Here we go.
You have time to win the first wave of gunfights, and then you have one good setup. TJ is actually going to invest the glide bomb straight off the bat, so that's going to give Red Reserve all the indication they know, or they need.
Oh, nice.
Ultimately, right, good little double. He has a fighter pilot. You know that. May actually have an artillery barrage relatively soon, but 30 seconds left. Your key player to watch, number 7 on the minimap. Heading towards cabin. That is going to be 0 as TJ fully streaks himself out. This, the gunfight, which could change things for Red Reserve. Gunless wins it, and now it's simple for TJ. Let it rain. Let it pour streaks from the sky. Do not allow Red to touch the flag, and you bring home Game 3, CTF Ardennes Forest. More importantly, you now put yourself kind of in a great situation where you're match point now. You win the hard point, you win the series, and you send Red Reserve packing in 7th, 8th place.
This should have been a 3-0. This should have been a 3-0. However, they threw that S&D away. They, of course, being Rise. We saw 1v2s from Joe. We saw bad timing. We saw poor streak usage. We saw everything in between. But Rise Nation, they clutch upon the CTF in overtime. They win. They lose out on a round 11. The only dominating game really has been that map 1 and hardpoint, and it's coming up next, Ben.
Yes, it most definitely is. It's worth mentioning, Red Reserve and Ardennes Forest, they seem to struggle a little bit at the early stages of the preferred side. We saw it in regulation, we saw it yesterday, we saw it there in the overtime. They just don't really establish themselves. They rely very heavily on rated on that cabin wall side. And when players from Rise or whoever they're playing against kind of don't push that side, when they flood ruins and they put too much pressure there, there's really no good defense. You're relying on very kind of 50-50 gunfights. And if you're Red Reserve, you may want to consider maybe changing things up there. When they do obviously get their preferred setup, it's almost impossible to stop. But Rise Nation, of course, goes straight at them there, and a wonderful Game 3 victory for them. As you said, it puts them 2-1 up now in the series.
It does, and that means we go to another hard point. Of course, I believe we're sticking on Forest. This is where you're looking at a player like Methods to really put the nail in the coffin and start this loser bracket run. But again, you turn the table and you look at Red Reserve and how they kind of come back into this. You need a big performance from Raided. You need a big performance from Zero, Joe, and Josh. Yeah, all 4 players. They need to turn up here. We've seen what Red Reserve can do, both at major events, both at the Pro League, and of course here. Even yesterday, the hard point they played against LG, I believe it was incredible. You know, it was an absolute beast of a performance, but they need to replicate that. However, we'll be going to Forest, which is a map we've not seen them play on yet. Wouldn't we love another Game 5? Absolutely, but Rise Nation, they do not want to see it. They want to end this here in 4. In all honesty, you know, if they do end it here in 4, you know, we're talking theoreticals now, Ben. If they close this one out with another convincing hard point, you've got to look at Rise as maybe a team to go far, because yes, they kind of threw that S&D away, but apart from that, they've been very, very strict, disciplined, if you like.
Yes, they most definitely have. I mean, it's an unbelievably big shark in the losers bracket, isn't it? I mean, they fall losers round 1. This is a team that's won an event this year, right? I mean, they are extremely talented, and it's a team that you definitely want to try and dodge. That's for sure. You don't want your tournament life on the line early against Rise Nation. But, you know, Red Reserve, they're still in this one, down 2-1 after pretty poor start to the series. Valkyrie hardpoint, very, very much controlled by Rise Nation. They clutch up, though, massively in the search and destroy. Rated sticks at a fuse. Methods, of course, doesn't check the bomb to take it to around 11. They then manage to close things out. Zero, of course, in that 1v1 with Gunless to seal the deal there. The CTF, a crazy overtime comes through. It's just Rise Nation so aggressive in the OT, kind of choke things out with a minute 2 flag cap. And then, of course, TJ gets his streaks, and that CTF was over. Now, of course, the Ardennes Forest hardpoint, Game 4, about to get underway. Rise Nation can send Red Reserve home with a win here in Forest.
However, Red Reserve can also make a big impact in the loser bracket. If you can beat Rise, you can beat anyone. Fact. The playoffs is a dangerous, dangerous place, but we're kicking it off, and Looney, with a spicy 2 kills there, is going to return to the cabin, and Rise Nation, a perfect setup here on Cave. 40 seconds left, and Red Reserve are going to have to battle back in, but The kill feed lighting up yellow here. Oh my goodness, TJ, stop it.
TJ accidentally mantles on barrels and still wins the gunfight there. A wonderful, wonderful start here for Rise Nation as they're going to pick up all the early time here on Cave. And Red Reserve, their backs truly are against the wall. And with that said, I want to send it over to an Astro Gaming listening with Red Reserve.
Okay, thank you.
You, one shot, you, we can do. Looney, touch. Okay, spawn out. You still. I'm pointing him hill. You want to die? Yeah, delay if you want.
We can do hill, we can do hill.
The spawning cabin. One,
On me.
Fire tank, map is weak. You. Cheeks, I think. Nade over.
Looney's absolute. I got the cross.
We need that. Nice! Go.
I'm pushing.
On top of the deck.
No, close.
Bell. Nice. One. Hold the cross. Cabin. We spawn cabin.
Hold the cross, just hold the cross.
I got you mid.
Close to me, Looney.
You weak.
You can wake it.
Where you spawned?
Are you in this spawn?
Get nades on hill.
Look one.
Let's push that mid. Looney on a truck and one's fire tank.
Outside hill.
Real weak.
I hear him again.
Gonna be you.
Nice. One more hill.
Might be Dick.
Nothing new. I get the time.
Fire tank.
Fire tank methods. No, one of them's fire tank. Fire tank.
I need a fire tank.
He backed up, I'm pretty sure. I've seen back. Yeah, he backed up.
Ah, he's come mid. Looney, fire rally.
Go on front.
Oh, rally, you say?
Yeah.
Go on front, bunker.
You might push up the P1, Joe.
I'll check it.
One's back bunker. Methods. He's body back door. Methods back door.
He's absolute front left corner hill.
Front door. Okay, I'm gonna come Nitro.
I need it.
He's still there, Joe?
Yeah, he's still left corner.
I'm on shot. I'm nading you, Trey.
Side window.
I'm on shot. Gonna kill me. Side window.
Looney got streaks.
Weak. Push fire cut.
Don't see him.
Fire tank, absolute.
You want me?
Need fire tank.
One's P1.
Got fire tank. Come. Let's go.
P1.
One fire tank. Kill him. P1.
Hold cabin.
One's come straight for me.
P1 dead.
TJ's over on you, or is he straight for me?
DJ dead.
Oh, so kill.
Fire
Go,
tank.
fire tank.
You dead.
Got him. Right.
That's risk.
Side off.
I'm helping you cabin.
Dead.
I'm sorry. I'll get time then.
One more fire tank on me.
Go your left, Josh.
I'm one shot.
Go your left.
He's going towards you. What's it? You, TJ.
You
There's
dead.
one more somewhere around there.
Two cabin on me. Two field.
One more around you, by the way.
Got one.
He's gonna hit the back.
No,
You weak.
They're, of course, listening with Red Reserve. Their communication fast and furious, as you would expect. They call out Looney has streaks, and, well, we get to see the first one come through. It's a glide bomb. Ultimately, no effect.
Yeah, I wish I could cast in the style that Josh communicates. That would be, yeah, it'd be fun. You just say the same thing like 10 times over. It's brilliant. It's so frantic. And it's funny to hear someone else kind of speak as he's kind of commanding his troops, if you like. But Looney, let's touch on that for a second. 18-6. The streak's obviously not capitalized on just yet, but 111 plays 42, a very significant lead here. We talk about the first hardpoint, Ben. It was a 100-point lead, and it kind of stuck at that. We've not reached that level just yet, but Rise Nation, they're in the driving seat here.
And that's simply because Red was able to control cabin here on East Road. They're able to actually make that first rotation nowhere near as bad as it could have been, right? It was not looking good at all. The fighter pilot's going to come through, and is Josh going to stay alive? Wow, he does. So Red Reserve still earning hill time. Ultimately, though, the challenge comes through from Gunless, and we're kind of back to square one, back to how this game started. 4 players fall for Red, and Rise, they didn't really look back after that.
The STGs from Rise have just been so strong. When they're in control, they can hold it for so long here. Rated doing all he can. He's going to find one, and actually, that's big. Rated now finds himself with streaks, and that's going to be streaks with without Rise's knowledge. 20 and 10 for Looney still. Great performance individually there, as Rise Nation is going to clean up, except one player. That one player being 0. Still soaking up all his hill time. Last 12 seconds will go to Rise Nation. And you know what? Rise might have the rotation too.
It is worth mentioning, though, a lead like this is definitely not too much to handle on a map like Ardennes. All you look for is a good Ruins hold and a good rotation to bunker, and Red Reserve will be back in this one. The fighter pilot's going to be called in, and only really gets the assist. Not what you want, but Joe finds the double, of course, and Red get the early time, or I say that, they actually don't. They're footing through mid-map, and TJ's just kind of watching the cross, so fighter pilot called in to no effect. if you're rated, you may actually have to pull in that glide bomb. The kills are going in your favor, but you need to get them off the hill. Glide bomb comes in, Methods ultimately falls, Red retake control of runes, but they have to hold this now, Phil. They need this time. This is crucial if they're going to mount a comeback. This 30 seconds, and as I mentioned, a good rotation. They're still holding the spawns. It's the only way back into this game.
150 and counting here, doubling the score of Red Reserve right now. Rise in particular, Looney having an absolute light-out game here. He's going to be taken off from Josh with a nice double. Wow. Joe actually finds him with a triple there. But again, this is where Red can get back into the game, and it's on Bunker. We talk about streaks. We talk about how impactful they can be. Red, they seem to have just stepped it up a gear right now.
And Zero just saved the day. Rated was basically 1v3 at Bunker. Zero hits Fire Alley, manages to watch the cross. However, where is he going to spawn? Still back Bunker, so this is okay. Josh, meanwhile, he's watching the rotation over towards you. He gets another double, and he's close to streaks himself. Methods shuts that down, so you don't have to worry about that if you're a Rise fan. But it was exactly this, right? That play from Ruins to Bunker. This hold, that rotation, that was the key for Red Reserve, and so far, so good. 38 seconds left, and it's been uncontested hill time.
Yeah, Ray's just chilling. He's chilling in here. Now he starts to push forward as his teammates do go down. But apart from that, we've got a 49-point lead. Rise Nation looking to close this one out. Red Reserve, they're trying to fight their way back into this, Ben.
And this is where momentum really does become a thing, right?
Yeah.
They recognize, boys, we're down 100 points. And all of a sudden, we're back in it. They get the momentum going. The call-outs get even faster. Yes, believe that, right? Even quicker than what we heard in our Astro Gaming listening. 11 seconds left on Bunker. And East Road was where Red Reserve were absolutely fantastic in our first rotation as well.
We talk about an 80-point lead. It's gone down to just 20. Red Reserve, they turn broken. And, of course, oh my goodness, they actually can do this. If they start to push through now, Nade's going over. Rise are going to be in trouble. We've got a split spawn coming in. That's going to be Josh, yeah. Pointing it out there, the mini-map. This could be the perfect pinch here. Red Reserve, they are not out of it, Ben.
They most definitely aren't. More streaks here would be good, though. If someone is able to just kind of step up to that next level, shift into another gear, it might be this man. Zero, not going to happen this life. He falls. Now it's unrated. Tries to watch over towards cabin side, and that really has been the key here for Rice so far, the first 30 seconds. They haven't allowed Rated to get set up on that cabin side, so ultimately this time has been essentially nullified, right? No one's really had any of it.
Yeah, we talk about the success of East Road with Red Reserve. The reason that they were winning this was they had that cabin control. Now Rice Nation have that. There's still 20 seconds left. You've got to think about Cave. You look at Rise Nation to really put the nail in the coffin here, but Looney, one-on-one against Rated. This is big, and now he's pushing forward towards the cave, and we're going to see Joe win a big 1v1.
2.5 minutes left in terms of the shot clock, so it's going to be, you don't really have to worry about it, right?
No,
many games of Ardennes, that can often be a factor. The one thing that I was going to mention is Looney has the artillery barrage, which he's actually dropped here. It forces that gunfight to be so important. If Rated had killed Looney, it would have had some influence on the spawns. Instead, Red, they kind of just have to flood through the artillery. You can't allow 40 seconds here on Cave for Rise. It's just going to build that lead once again too large. They need to contest this hill.
We heard on Hot Mic, Octane say he really doesn't like to play against Looney. He's an SMG which understands the game, and this is why. A player which sometimes doesn't get highlighted. Joe and Rated are going to pick up two either side, but this was a close game, and now it's starting to get out of hand. 40 points away from sending the only European team here in playoffs back home.
And if you're Rise now, don't even bother with that 15 seconds. You have one good solid push to try and get set up over towards Runes, and if it fails, you still have Methods with a fighter pilot. So ultimately, you have that crutch, and now this is where it's bad news. 5 seconds left, all of Red fall. Methods is up top, ready and waiting to get this hill time, again, with that fighter pilot. So if you're Red now, these gunfights are so important. They are must win. Huge 1v1s, and they're losing them all.
Methods, this whole game has just been chilling in the hardpoint. Long-range gunfights, gunless isn't going to get the double there, but we are going to see TJ just back away, and I like this because he's got the knowledge of where his teammates are. He's going to wait for the gunfire to go down, and then he's going to try and pinch in. I think he's been spotted, but look at that, now the pinch. And just like that, TJ looks to wipe the dreams of Red Reserve off of them. Josh.
About smart plays, though. You talk about smart plays. Josh making them for Red Reserve. He held back close to streaks, waited for Rise Nation to hop into the hill. He baits them out perfectly, gets streaks of his own. Now, if you're Josh, you have to kind of use him because you know this rotation is key. This is where you had your success. He drops the first glide bomb, 3 players in bunker. That's going to be the call. Finds one, Methods drops, and Red Reserve, they can do this here because look at that. Rise, they're spawning out. Gunless, basically, this hill is in his hands. He drops as well. Red Reserve, they're in a a great position to force a game 5.
Ben, take a deep breath. I feel like we're going the distance here. However, look at Josh. He has the fighter pilot. This is going to come soaring down very, very quickly. And actually, we have a fighter pilot coming in for Rise Nation. We got the artillery, the mortars coming down. Mech is picking up too. These streaks are going to rain down. I am waiting for Josh to invest this fighter pilot, and here it is. Finds one. He knows where the second is, and that intel is just as valuable. Look at the scoreboard, Ben.
The kills come in as well in the hill. 225, 220. Red Reserve crawling back, and more importantly, they can win on this hill if they get the kills in time. Did they do it? I think the hardpoint's going to be contested anyway, so it ultimately doesn't matter. Still, a bell spawn comes through. Rise Nation cannot win on this hill, nor can Red Reserve, but you don't want to put them at touching point heading over towards East Road, so Red Reserve have to fight through. They get control of the hill and put themselves now at touching point.
It's all about East Road. I love what Raid's doing here. You've got to reset your clock. You've got to remember what wins you East Road. You have to get the control of cabin. However, that is in the hands of Rise Nation. And look at the spawns. You've got to favor Rise at this point. There's 2 points in it. However, Josh pushing through. The kill feed lining up yellow. Rise, they're trying to nail it on, but the grenades coming through, Ben.
They are raining down on Rise Nation in the hill. It's a 1-point game. 238, 237. However, it's still Rise Nation spawning back bridge, and Gunless is going to be first to the party. Finds one. It's Josh. Rated trades, but it's raining nades once again. Rise Nation, have they won the gunfights? Have they done enough? Looney with a massive double. Can he reach the touching point of 250?
Well, the 2 kills coming from Red Reserve is 5 points away. However, Red regained control. Gunless, he's been patient here with the STG at the side, but he needs to pick up the kills. Red Reserve, it's a 1-point game, Ben. Joe, Josh, Looney backs it up with 2. Now the important gunfight.
Oh my God,
DJ,
229!
but no one's on the hill.
No one's on the hill, just dive for it. Rated pre-fight, in goes Joey, touches the hill.
Oh my God!
Do it! Are you serious? Red clutch up in unbelievable scenes in Ardennes Forest. Europe's only hope left here in the CWL Stage 1 playoffs. Send this series to a game 5. I cannot for the life of me think of a hardpoint as crazy as that so far this year. That is up there.
There's been a few.
There has
been a few. Oh, and do you know what? Then we bring the game 5.
We do. It's me and you.
5 points in it. Let's just recap. And I know that was a great series. Me and Ben are going to touch on that a little bit. But we have a 7-point hard point between TK and FaZe. We have a 1-point hard point between Envy and FaZe. We have a 2-point hard point between TK and FaZe. We now have a 5-point hard point. It's insane. And the one turnaround there for Red Reserve, when Josh picks up the 2-piece on towards Ruins, gets the streaks, capitalizes on it.
So glad you mentioned that.
But I did,
so glad.
I did see it, and I was trying to do the maths very quickly. I think you were cast at the time. I was like, I think Rise, if they hold this bunker perfectly, they can win. But there was a grenade from somewhere. I want to watch it back, but there was a huge clutch again from Red Reserve. But I felt like that whole time, Rise, on East Road, they had their chances. But I need to watch it back. I just got engulfed by the game myself.
Insane. The touch that you make, or the point, sorry, that you make on the Josh play.
I need to shake
we
it off
we kind of talked about it enough, but you can't praise him enough. He has hill control. He gets a couple kills in the hill, and you're thinking, all right, maybe he gets close to streaks. His teammates die, and Josh has to make the heads-up play of, hold on, let me push up. Very much like we saw TJ do, ironically, on the other side. So he pushes through over towards bridge side and stays alive. Watches his teammates fall and just waits for the perfect moment where the 2 players in the hill aren't even looking at him, gets the double kill, gets the streaks. I mean, that is just a 5 billion IQ play.
This is the time they technically can win on the points, but it's this point. These gunfights are the bits that change the game. Raiders couldn't it was Joe who kind of neutralizes it. No one can win off bunker at this point. And now you start to think Rise Nation, they've got that side of the map, they've got the control, they can just hold Red off. But the grenades that came in, everything that came in, I think it just was a bloodbath. It comes down to that. And I think it's at this point where, again, those grenades, they just kind of split Rise in half.
And you have to bear in mind, Red did all this while Rise had that back bridge spawn, right? So they were consistently just putting pressure on the hill. The kills come through again, but I mean, it's East Road, right? It's very contest heavy. This is what we expect to see. Rise Nation at this point, no, this is where I thought it was done. This is where I was like, it's over. It's over. Rise win.
However, Looney plays the defensive mode. He lets Joe run on through, and then 2 players fall. And again, at this point, when you are spawning back bridge, this is very difficult to retake. It's really, really hard. You've got to kind of cut through cabin, and it's, you know, a team like Red Reserves, you know, strafe 5 foot to the left. But when it's 2-5, I love that pre-fire from Rated, by the way. I know it's something so little and something you won't kind of take in, but Rated knew, yes, we're talking 5 points and 1 point, but he's like, I will make whoever comes at you very, very weak. You just jump in and start spraying that PPSH.
Very, very smart, because a lot of players in that situation, your AR players, just charge at the hill. Right, let me just get that last second, let me get that last second.
Rated could have ran and just dived and died, and it could have all fell apart.
It most definitely could. So just some unbelievable veteran plays from Red Reserve to clutch up in emphatic style, force a game 5 here in a losers round 1. Yes, if you're just tuning in, this a losers round 1 matchup, and it's going the distance. Sadly, one of these two teams will be eliminated following this game 5 London Dock search.
What time is it, Ben? It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. This is game
4 o'clock?
6. We've had 2 game 5s already. We've already seen FaZe send Envy home.
You know, I'm not going to complain, Phil. Be here till 2 in the morning if all these games go game 5 and they're unbelievably close like this series. I mean, realistically, you look at the series, it was only game 1, which was a bit of a blowout, right? It was Rise coming outside very, very strong, and Red didn't really show us much. Since then, I mean, think about this. We wouldn't have even seen that game if Rated doesn't stick that defuse. If Methods doesn't go to the right, he goes to the left of the bomb. Yeah. He gets the kill. Something as simple as that.
I'm getting flashbacks for like Rated was, you know, all over social media as he is, and he's like, we should have closed out LG 3-0. Rise should have closed out U 3-0. I feel they got gifted that search and destroy, but again, and I repeat myself, all you need sometimes is that little bit of luck, that gift, if you like, because then you take the gift, you win a hardpoint like that in that fashion, and you go into this S&D. I don't think it's about. I'm not sure. I'm not even going to start again. London Docks.
London Docks.
And now it's anyone's game. There's no score streaks. It is down to 0-0. Everything, you know, map 1 to 4 has just been wiped off. One game, one map separates yourself top 8 to then top 6. And
you said it what felt an hour ago. Can the Reds go 3-2 up again today? Red Reserve looking to do it again. Game 5 versus Rise Nation. Again, to reiterate, loser is out of the Stage 1 playoffs. We've already had one casualty earlier on in the day. Of course, that was Team Envious. FaZe stay alive in that one. And yeah, I'm not going to do the corny thing and ask you your predictions because this is just too close to call. I think every single game has shown us that it really is just so unbelievably close.
Yeah, they're kind of making a prediction at this point as well. You can look at all the stats in the world. I'm sure Chances, you know, he's backstage, you know, crunching numbers. But who turns up in that round 1 and 2? By round 3, one team could have full streaks, and it's like, who cares about a stat at that point? Right. The one stat I want to bring up, though, Ben, is Red and Rise. It is 5-0 at major events, whether it's whatever. Rise have had Red's number every time. But if there's one time you want to bite back,
yeah, right now would be a good time, right? Playoffs.
$500 million, man.
Losers round 1 as well. Let's not forget, both these two teams fell early on yesterday, of course, and that's exactly why we find ourselves here in the first round of the losers bracket to kick things off on Saturday. But what a Saturday it's proven to be. 2 game 5s back-to-back. Will this one be maybe a little closer than the last, though? That's the question.
That's what you want to see as well as a European fan. You want to see Rated smiling, Zero laughing as well. You want to see them, you know, happy and enjoying themselves. That's when I feel like this squad plays their best.
I mean, after a hardpoint like that, I have the biggest grin on my face, let me tell you. Be cheesing, that's for sure. And one of the keys for success right there, you saw Joe as well. One player who, I've said it so many times throughout this entire series, for me has been so impressive here in Columbus, Ohio, the Stage 1 playoffs. Yeah. Really has. We've only seen him in 2 series, so it's, you know, very hard to hop on the hype train early, but he really has been very, very good.
As well, Rise Nation didn't expect to find themselves in the loser bracket yesterday.
Not many people had them there, did they? United, 3-0.
3-0 from E United, and now a game 5. Red Reserve, I tell you what, if you lose 2 game 5s, woo, you're not a happy bunny.
No, you're really not, Phil. You're a very, very sad bunny, that's for sure. But First Blood comes in the form of Zero as Now you'll see Red Reserve. How are they going to use their numbers advantage? Not really much A control. Of course, the B site is wide open, but you have one player from Rise watching the cross. So it's basically just going to come down to doing exactly that.
It looked
Joe
like
getting
Goodness was stunned then. Correct me. I mean, I could be wrong. And that oh my goodness, that should be a trade. Should be in the key word. 2v4 now to a 2v2 is Looney. He was lights out in that hard point for the first 3 quarters of the game.
How has that not been traded?
So tense. These S&Ds, I forgot kind of the breakdown of the prize pool of the playoffs. All I know is there's $500,000 on the line. but these S&Ds, these are thousands, tens of thousands of pounds on the line for an S&D, you know, not only map, but rounds at this point.
Essentially that, yeah. 2v2, 23 seconds left though. Of course, Red still need to plant. They know if you Rise, you have bomb down over towards A unless...
Run.
No, they don't have time, surely.
They do have time.
That is such a heads-up play.
Right.
That is such a heads-up play. Too many teams, we've seen in the past, they just kind of say 15 seconds left, all right, we have to plant A. Instead, Red wrap the map completely, get bomb down, and Zero's watching across mid-map. One player's going to have to flank. You expect someone, when bomb planted, to be underground, so Rated has to watch his back. No eyes on bomb yet. It's basically, is Zero going to get impatient?
The question is oh no, you don't lose that gunfight. Rated, wow, he's one shot.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I like the setup from Red Reserve there, just to point out, Zero puts himself in a position where anyone mid-map or fire, he's going to kill. But people will question, like, what if he comes behind you? You've got to think, why would you go up the stairs and wrap back to mid to enter B bomb site? I love the play from Zero. First blood and
exactly that. And the reason that works so effectively, you know both players are at A because you're in a very, very creative play. So you can kind of count, what, 15 to 20 seconds that if they were going to rotate all the way through fire, you know, if they were going to go all the way pack bust towards useless, you have that time. You don't need to check that bomb. That's why Zero was just so comfortable in that position. He recognized, nope, let me just hold. Let me just hold. Rated wins his fight, which was important. And then, of course, it's an easy round win for Red Reserve. Joe going on one of his adventurous little flanks, to say the least.
Although Baggins running through here. And you know what? It's going to pay off. No, that's not going to pay off. Wrong person, Joe.
Oh, that's disastrous. You hate to see that.
You hate to see it. 3-3 right now. Joe could have made this very, very much in Red Reserve's favor. Unfortunate, though. He does shoot a dead body, but you got to think of the nerves kind of kicking in as well.
And the one thing is, Rise won't expect this.
Look at the 3 plays from Red. Look at the positions.
But look at how... So Josh, using Hunker and Airborne, he has to be so careful because he's so quiet. Throws up the stun, stays alive, and that does connect. He buys his teammates a little bit of time to maybe assist, but now it's a 2v2. Josh should be dead to rights, but he's not. He wins the gunfight against Methods and somehow dips as well. Bomb down, 28 seconds left, another 1v2. However, it's this man, TJ, so phenomenal in this game mode throughout the regular season. Can he now produce the goods?
Well, it's 17 seconds. He needed to kill. That's not going to happen. Zero could have gone down. I think he may have been 1 or 2 shots away, but I think Joe...
He's laughing about it now, but if they lose that round, he's dead quiet. He's not saying a word. Joe, what happened at the site, mate? Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. What are we doing this round?
Yeah, well, that's in the past. That's in the past.
When you win, though, he's like, yeah, I shot a dead body. My bad.
And that's the body shooting we don't laugh and mock about. That's the one where you kind of kill your toes and think, ugh. However, Red won't be killing the toes of this scoreline. 2-0 in the search and destroy. Big swing round, of course. If Zero keeps on going as he is, we're talking streaks on the card soon.
Most definitely are, and it's important to note as well, Methods and Gunless both still trying to search for their first kill. 2 players who were so phenomenal. TJ falls, first blood for Rated. That's all 3 first bloods for Red Reserve. Bear that in mind. And now with the kill coming through, Rated's tracked all the way back, and it's actually going to be Methods that's actually trying to hunt him down. Zero has the support here, so you expect him to maybe try and trade that Methods on their head glitch, so you don't really want to take that fight if you're Zero. You just kind of back away, say, all right, well, we know where one player is. He's back spawn. It's basically a 2v2 at sight. If you win your gunfights, you plant the bomb.
Trying to obviously hear every single possibility. I like Joe's position in here, actually. This is one of those where it's almost back to the start. It's one where first blood at this point is so important.
Yeah, it's like a new first blood, right?
Yeah. Oh, gunless. A little bit of shaky shots, of course. It does happen when you're aiming between those sticks, but the bomb goes down, so Their one caveat for Red Reserve is they have that bomb down, and they're going to force Rise Nation.
And here's the key. Zero's still worried about Methods being behind. He's actually, rotated all the way through mid-map, and he's now in a position where it's going to force Josh to have to make the play. He jumps across. Looney's not on the bomb, and he actually wins the fight as well. 2 more players from Rise. They're in the site, and Zero makes it a 1v1. And bear in mind how close the streaks is. He gets Zero. He wins the gunfight as well, and instantly rises to his feet. The fist bumps all around.
My.
Streaks still alive, and Zero with a massive, massive clutch.
He promised him the W.
Well, he's going Super Saiyan today because
even he was surprised at that one. You said, "Oh wow, okay." Again, I want to give the credit. Yes, Zero, great 2 kills, but the first kill, I think it was Josh, who was in the A side. Josh or Joe was one of them. The way they jumped to the box, they get that first kill. That was the one that gave Zero even a chance. But look at this. It's not just a 3rd round. It's 1 kill away from double streaks. Double.
how is he going to play it? I think that was his nade that flew across Joe.
He's
in a
aggressive.
great position to call things out.
Who is that? Who is that?
I'm not sure, but it's costing Joe.
Oh my God.
Triple kill for him, maybe. No, not going to happen. Methods right at the back of the map, and importantly, Zero could be the one to pick up the kill. You want to pepper him up a little bit. Let Zero find this pick. It is so, so important. For Red Reserve, it doesn't matter. He falls. They'll take the round win all day. It is a 4-0 lead for Red Reserve in Game 5.
Joe should have been dead to rights. Methods must have just glanced to his
worst
left or
time.
glanced up top. But who expects Joe to be behind them after 25 seconds? Again, the aggression of Joe.
This is why so many North American
one
players...
kill there in that round, maybe 2.
No, yeah, he got
picked
2.
up 2.
Got
Okay,
2.
so it does kind of show in the stats, but he opened up that whole round for them.
And this
Great.
is why so many North American players say the one player they despise playing against is Joe, because he's a nuisance. Things like that.
Annoying.
Those plays, they are just annoying to deal with. This Zero will take bomb in hand. Now, does he go for the fast plant? That's the question. Oh, he's not in a great position now. Pepper by the nade and drops. So no streaks for Red Reserves. That is a very small lifeline for Rise, but you want to talk about taking lifelines away? Well, Joe could be a bit of a nuisance over towards that A site, 2v3.
He's got to go and help his teammates. That's the 1v1, which if Josh wins, they give themselves a chance. But the trade would have probably come in. This should be a round to Rise Nation, and I think Joe's just trying to find a player. He will find him, but that is all he's going to find. 4-0. Remember that scoreline.
I know what you're thinking. Not like that, Phil.
Ben, I don't know what you're on about. I'm reiterating the scoreline for all these beautiful viewers out there. Red Reserve, they have a chance to finally, after 6 attempts, take down Rise Nation, Looney, Gunless, Methods, and TJ.
What a time to do it. You said it before. Stage 1 playoffs.
When the most money's on the line, you can win a major and everything. It's all very fancy, Rise, but they'll be frustrated no matter what. Second at this event. Every team here will be frustrated with a top 2 placement. First or nothing, that's it.
Which definitely is. Round 6. Of course, Rise on the attack. Looney with bomb in hand, and Looney's going to be first-blooded. It's Joe who changes up his playstyle a little bit. Wants to play this one a little slower. They know all the information. Rise, they're kind of pinned and pinched over towards the B site. There's nowhere for them to go. They almost have to force one of these fights, but the problem is there's 3 players from Red just right at the back over towards Useless, not allowing them to escape. Joe gets a second as Methods try to retrieve the bomb. It's now a 2v4 as Red Reserve look to put themselves at match point.
I love the way Joe's just gone. Guys, I fancy pulling out an STG. Just going to stop running at them now. And it's worked perfectly for them. Again, such intelligence at this point. Rise Nation have got their work cut out because this should be 5-1. 25 seconds left. They don't really have the positioning to plan. And even if they do, it's just a simple 4v2
You can
retake.
let them. Yeah, you can let them.
Yeah.
It's a 2v4. You're not worried. You don't want to give away your life unnecessarily.
I like what Zero did there. He backed off. He didn't challenge. And Zero, I'll give the credit to. That's a player which kept his composure there. May lose this one, but a trade should come in.
No.
Should. Maybe could. It will.
I tell you what, when you see Zero just dive at his feet, you're thinking, all right, ambitious. You see the second player instantly evaporated in front of Gunless Eyes, but luckily enough, rated the last man alive, mid-cut, pre-aiming, finds the kill, gets the defuse, and it is a very, very steep mountain that Rise Nation now need to climb if they want to stay alive here at the Stage 1 playoffs.
Zero tried to dive at him with his bayonet. Didn't work.
Dolphin dive and stab him in the toe.
That'd be a nice way to go, but you need the bomb. Someone needs to go back. Rated is going to be the one to retrieve the bomb. 90 seconds on the clock. It could be the difference between sending Rise Nation home. The trades come in, the grenades come in. Zero is going to find another kill. He promised them the W. He's got a 3.0 in this series, but Josh, 8 kills to his name. And look at the A bomb site. It's a 3v2, Ben. This is where we should see Rise Nation finish top 8.
Dooney taking his time. Gunless knows there's nothing at B. About to know, of course, the bomb has gone down at the A site. Red Reserve have the setup. 2 players watching each side, 1 player inside 10. There should be no way they lose this.
No. And the time's ticking. That time's ticking, and every second is just a little giggle for Red Reserve.
Don't giggle too much, because it can affect your shot, Phil.
Exactly. Jumping on in. That's the first. That's the trade. That's what they needed. And now, all information has been given to Red Reserve. Rated gets destroyed off of the bomb, but it's the time. The time is not enough. It's simple. He has to get on the bomb. It's not going to happen. Red Reserve send home Rise Nation in a 7th, 8th position, along with Envy. The loser bracket run begins here for Red Reserve. Europe stays alive.
By God, was that a good series.
What?
Unbelievably clutch at the end. And it's worth mentioning, you know, game 1, not close at all. Rise Nation complete favorites.